My name is Coconuts, and welcome to episode 1 of the SMPology podcast, where I go in depth and talk about the psychology and reactions of the characters and try and explain them through, psychology. Before I get started, I just want to say that I'm very new to this sort of stuff, and this is my first episode, so it's going to be a little scuffed, I guess. And it's also just sort of like a podcast more laid back style instead of like super professional YouTube video. So just thought I'd say that. But another thing that I want to say before I get started is that I'm going to be going into this completely unbiased when talking about each different character, and I will not be taking into account any other character's feelings towards them, and I'm just going to be solely looking at them and their perspective. And all my conclusions are based off of research. By no means am I a professional, and I'm not trying to say this is exactly how character is feeling. This is just what I'm observing from my own research and my own point of view. And if I got anything wrong, please call me out. And for this episode it's Phil. If Phil is somehow watching this, please tell me if I got something wrong or if I hit the nail on the head. So why don't we just get started then? Alright, so I'm just gonna start off by saying that SMP Phil is definitely a really misunderstood character, because I think people just view him as, oh my god, Wilbur's father, he killed him, and he's actually a lot more than that. So I'm the person that's here to talk about what his thought process could be. So I'm gonna start with his immortality, and I think it's the root of really everything and sort of setting him down the path that he's on. It was really hard to do research on the effects of immortality because it's not really a thing. But from what I could find, it would bring a sense of boredom. He's really bored. He can get bored really easy because he's been around for a long time, and I think that also contributes to the why he prioritizes people over possessions, because he's learned through his many years that you can't get back people, but you can get back a possession, but you can't get back a person. So that's why he's so, people over possession sort of thing. But he can be a little bit careless, obviously. He's a little how do I explain? He's a little careless at times. So, and he also has low patience. So, this low patience leads me to believe that he's dealt with a lot of betrayals in his past. So, he only shows people the same compassion that they show him, and he's tired of giving second chances because he's been around so long and so many people have betrayed him that he doesn't want to give people second chances because it never ended well before, so why would it end well this time? Which is pretty fair logic, to be honest. But I did do a little research, and he is immortal, but he cannot die of old age, but he can die at the hands of somebody else. So I just thought I'd bring that up. Next, I want to talk about Technoblade for a second, and why him and Techno are so close. This is mere speculation on my part, but it might be that Techno brings sort of a spontaneous and exciting light to his life because he's Phil, again, immortal. He could be a sense of boredom, and Techno is a complete change from that. He is spontaneous, and he's also been a constant throughout Phil's life, because we know that SMP Earth is canon in a way, so they've been side by side for a long time, and Techno's never done anything to hurt or betray him, so Phil trusts him more than anything, and he's willing to follow his lead. So that might be why he's so close to Techno. I also have the Techno also says Techno never dies and everything, and that could be reassuring for Phil because everybody else has left him in a way, and having someone say that they'll never die, they'll always be there, is probably really nice for him. So that would explain why they're so close. And actually, their friendship is actually really nice, like in the SMP. So yeah. And Techno also hates government. So I also have this point written down, but I don't know. I never like. There's really no way to look into it because Phil doesn't do too much like character monologuing. So I have down that Techno may or may not remind him of Wilbur a little bit. So that could contribute to something. I'm not sure. That's just like something that I like, again, speculation. But I want to talk about why he would agree to help L'Manberg. I want to talk about how or why he would do that. At first, I was thinking maybe it has something to do with Tubbo, but I sat down and I thought about it for a little bit, and I think he decided to help L'Manberg because he saw how much Wilbur loved Fundy through his letters. Because it's canon that Wilbur wrote letters to Phil when he was in L'Manberg. So Phil wanted to be there for Fundy. In the beginning, he really was. And he really was there for Fundy in the beginning. He was actually really good. He wasn't bad a father figure for Fundy in the beginning because, like, this is his grandson. This is his son's kid. This is the last piece of Wilbur that he had left. And then he got Fundy betrayed him, and Phil's got low patience, so he's like, fuck, I don't want to, like, I don't want to, like, why would I give him a second chance? Like, why? Like, he doesn't, low patience, one of his biggest flaws, I think. I also want to talk about how, like, Fundy and his relationship is from Phil's point of view, obviously, because this is about Phil, but he probably doesn't like Fundy because Phil showed Fundy nothing but kindness. He's been nothing but nice to Fundy. And then Fundy goes and aligns with the government. And Phil believes that the government is corrupt and is the thing that killed his son. So Phil sees it as Fundy aligning with the same thing that killed his father. And that would make Fundy a sort of living reminder that government can corrupt, and Phil might not want to get close to him because he betrayed him once before, and he doesn't want to watch another family member die at the government's hands. So he could be pushing people away because he doesn't want to get hurt again, because him losing Wilbur was obviously a big deal. So yeah, let's talk about Wilbur now. It's a perfect segue. Killing Wilbur has brought a lot of guilt, obviously. And I think that's why many of his actions are so Phil, if that makes sense. And he blames two things for Wilbur's death. He blames the government and he blames himself. So he probably thinks that if he came forward sooner and when Wilbur stopped writing letters, that he could have prevented it and that he could have stopped the government from killing his son. But he knows that he doesn't know if that would have made a change, but he in his like guilt feels like it could have. Like he feels like I could have done something if I just came sooner, if I just wrote back or something like that. Like he blames himself for not being able to save his son from the government. And Phil's like really deep care for other people over possessions may come from Wilbur's death because he realized that he could never get his son back. Ever. Like he's gone forever and he can never get it back. So his care for people over possessions makes a lot of sense. And his actions all make sense when you look at his character from this point of view. He's guilty and he's guilty. He doesn't want to make the same mistake again. And he wants to put people over anything else. Because what I'm guessing is Phil probably didn't come sooner because he was working on a project. He was in his hardcore world. Like he was putting possessions over people. So when he was too late, he realized, oh no, I need to put people first. Last thing I want to bring up before we wrap this all up is he helps Rambo hide the existence of Michael from Technoblade. And I at first was a little confused as to why he does this, because I was like, that doesn't really make any sense. But the more that I thought about it, he probably views Rambo as like the father he could never be. Like, he doesn't really. I feel like Phil sort of understands Rambo's like his his like ideology. I think their ideology is very, very similar. Whereas Rambo's ideology is people over size, and Phil is people over possession. So still, they both value people a lot, and that's why I think they get along so well. Is because they both really value people. So I think that since Rambo's so close to Phil, and Phil, like, Rambo's never done anything to hurt him, so he has his full compassion. Like, he's never tested Phil's patience or anything, so he genuinely cares about Rambo. So he sees that Rambo cares so much about his family, and Phil is like jealous in a way, but also guilty, because he's like, I could have done that. I wish I could have go back, and I wish I could be that sort of, I wish I could be a good father. Like, I wish, like, I could, like, he wishes that he wishes he was like him in a way. He, like, Phil probably has, like, sort of a soft spot for, like, their whole family in Snowchester. He probably does, I'll be completely honest, because it seems like Phil's greatest weakness is like a family sort of guilt thing. So he doesn't want any more kids to, he wants Michael to have good parents, because maybe Michael is also a piglin, so he might remind him of like Techno or Wilbur or something like that, but yeah. Phil just sees, that was a really rambly, but Phil sees Rambo as a great father, and he wants to help him with this, because maybe it'll help ease his guilty conscience of not being a good father to his own son, and Rambo is someone he genuinely cares for. So he sees how Rambo prioritizes these people over anything else, and Phil admires that, and he wants to help one of the people he cares for care for his own family, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's really all I had. Phil is we don't have too much about SMP Phil, obviously, but I think I did a pretty good job of explaining what his motives could be and all that sort of stuff. So if you have anything else you want to add, let me know. Drop a comment, DM me on Twitter, anything like that. And hopefully I'll be having another episode out soon. If you guys like this, let me know what you think of these sort of like podcasty style character analysis. So that's all for today, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.